progress going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Hey, 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 hey. Hello.
I don't deny there's some strange evolutionary progress going on, but mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. But mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that. evolutionary process going on. But mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here today is evidence of that.
Hey everyone, how how's everyone doing? So yeah, I'm bored. Well, so happy weekend everyone. I'm here and I don't know where to start. So this is just because I had to, think of things to do over the weekend while on ECQ, and thought of this one. So thought of sharing some of my skills to the community, and if any one of you who wants to, wants to share this video, I'm gonna upload this in my page, and yeah, if you have questions about this topic, just let me know. I'm happy to answer. Post your questions in the comment section. And please do know I'm not asking for anything about this. I'm just not doing anything right now. Instead of playing, I thought I'll be productive and, you know, do this. So as I've mentioned in my post, this is a three-part session or three-part tutorial. I'll spend more. I'll do more tutorials in the future or redo this one if any one of you who wants me to do this again. But then again, this is a three-part tutorial. Starts with the Excel basics, which is today. Um, Part two will be tomorrow, which is Excel formulas and functions. And part three is pivots, charts, and graphs. Not sure if you guys can hear me. Uh, hear me? Cool, cool. Thanks, Mamilai. Cool. So let's go ahead and start. So then again, this is Excel 101. This is Excel Basics. I would assume most of you already know this, but if you're here to just listen or just want to get a refresher, then thank you for being here. All right, so let's start with where's my other screen? Here. Here we go. So the objective of this course or session is for the participants to be able to understand what Excel is, understand the purpose, basic capabilities of Excel, basic Excel functions, customize and format data, which will be beneficial for presentations, for your reports and whatnot, and organize data. Cool, thank you, loud and clear, awesome. All right, so I've shared this part in. Oops, sorry, it did my screen stuck. Okay, I'm just checking if it's stuck or it's moving because there's a delay in the stream. Sorry, too many technical difficulties. All right, can you guys let me know if the screen moved to course guide? I'm checking it myself as well. Just want to make sure if it moved or if it's stuck on the main screen because it's stuck from my end. Let me see. There and there. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So going back. So this is a three-part session. So with basic Excel, we'll cover Excel and what should I use it for. What is a spreadsheet? What are cells? Formatting Excel. Working with multiple cells. Hide and hide. Entering date. I know there's another way of entering date, but I'm I'm just including it there for um, nothing. But yeah, so increase, decrease decimal, wrap and merge, custom formatting, sort and filter, text to column, referencing, and drop down. So as you can see, it's pretty basic. Most of you already know this, but I'm gonna share um, what I what I know, what shortcuts do I know, um, and other things you can do. And the other part, which is the formulas, will be by tomorrow. Oops, sorry. Okay. Um, okay. Just wanna check before I go ahead. Which part of this or what screen are you seeing right now?
But mankind won't be destroyed. The fact that you and I are working here together is evidence of that.
Because I'm getting just the PowerPoint screen. I think it's stuck. Just give me a minute. I'm just gonna fix the view. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Technical difficulties. If I add the display capture. Cool. So you're seeing the Excel screen right now. Okay. Sorry about that. Let me go back. All right. So what is Microsoft Excel and would I use it for? Um, so Excel is an electronic spreadsheet program. An electronic spreadsheet is a computer software program that's used for storing, organizing, and manipulating data. Um, if you'd like, I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share this back or this PowerPoint presentation to everyone on a link later. But yeah, if you'd like to know details about spreadsheets, you can click this link in here. So electronic spreadsheet is a program or electronic spreadsheet programs were originally based on paper spreadsheets used for accounting. As such, the basic layout for computerized spreadsheets is the same as the paper ones. So if you can remember, accountants, what they do before is that they like manually jot down numbers on a paper which has small squares. I mean rectangles and all that. But yeah, Excel pretty much looks like that. So what are spreadsheets? And what are cells? So a spreadsheet is like an electronic version of the ledger, as mentioned. So if you're familiar with Microsoft Word, a spreadsheet is similar to working with tables. It has rows and columns and space where two intersect are called cells. So one rectangle thingy that you'll see in there is called cells. Yes, there should be one, Mamilay. I think that's what's not showing. Give me a minute. Let me just try to fix this. It was working fine earlier. let me hide that. Let me just remove this and add this again. Cool. Let's see. Let's see if that one works. Uh, Sorry, are you seeing the PowerPoint presentation now? Mm, Sorry about this. What do you call this? Streamlabs doesn't seem to work well with Microsoft Office Windows. So unlike when gaming, normally works super, but this one does not. Let me try something else. Excel. Let me close this. And just give me a minute. I'm trying something else and see if this one will work. Sorry. Give me a minute. Let me just remove some stuff in the screen. Remove this one. Remove this one. Window capture. Okay, there. All right. Are you seeing a PowerPoint screen right now? There. Okay. I'm not gonna do a presentation mode because it messes up everything for some reason. Sorry about that.
But mankind won't be destroyed.
Anyways, I'm gonna do it like this. And it looks super noob of me, but yeah, sorry. It's the only way to make things work. Sorry, so going back. So what is a spreadsheet? What are cells? So again, spreadsheet is like a paper ledger. Cells are the rectangular things that you'll see inside that. And as I've mentioned, I'm gonna share this, what do you call this? PowerPoint presentation with you guys so you can review it. And use it for whatever you like. It's not copyrighted or anything. So I made this one myself. Anyways, so this is how it looks like. Depending on the Excel version, and how will you know how the Excel version looks like? Let me switch my screen to Microsoft Excel. Yep. Okay, so how will you know how what's your Microsoft Excel version? You go to File, and then from File, you go to Account, and then you'll see here your Office version. So what I'm using right now is Office 2016. It may differ on some, but normally it's where it is. But if you are lost, just let me know. I can walk you through. Just feel free to send me a question through chat. All right. So going back. So this is how it looks like. You have your quick access toolbar in here, your ribbons. Your ribbons are basically your menu. Quick access toolbar. This is one of my favorite part of Excel. Let me just do this. Okay, a lot better. So, sorry. All right. So quick access toolbar is one of my favorite part in Excel. This is where when this is normally where I go when I you know open, save, open a new workbook, or send an email directly. I'll walk you through that later and how to add those small thingies in there. Now, you have your name box in here, insert icon dialog box. This is where your formulas go, this part. You have your column letters and column headers. So you got your A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your row numbers in row headers. So, and these rectangular stuff that you are seeing, not stuff. Um, these regular rectangular things that you're seeing are cells. These two in here are sheet tab. You can add additional sheets as you go, depending on your report, your presentation, or whatnot. You can add as many as I'm not sure, but you can add additional sheet by clicking that plus icon in there. This is your status bar. So when someone says their Excel froze and they cannot do anything, normally they will see that in here that it's loading or something, or it's running. Now your zoom slider is this one. You can zoom in or zoom out your what do you call this, Excel or your workbook. Sorry, the entire thing that you are seeing here, your file is called a workbook. These tabs are called worksheets. Now, so going back, so this is your zoom slider. If you'd like the view without changing your formats, if you'd like to zoom it in, you can do that here. There's a shortcut for that. I'll go through that one now. Why not now? All right. So going back, Excel. Let me hide PowerPoint. Excel. Checking if we are on the Excel screen. Okay. All right. So let's start with the quick access toolbar. This part, because I'm using Excel 2016. It's kind of the colors are not the fancy ones unlike the previous version, but this one here is your quick access toolbar. So what you by default what you have is new. I think there's also, did I already change this? But um, so you can add more stuff in there by clicking this drop down icon, or yeah, drop down icon, and then add whatever you like. You can add open, you can add email, undo, redo, print, and all that. You can even add more by clicking more commands. Now, normally, my preference when what I call this when well, on my work laptop, that is, what I do is I make sure to have these icons that I have here. Now, why? Because I have a habit of saving my work every what I call this every 5 minutes, just so when normally Excel crashes and then I have to go back and redo everything again. So I save my work every 5 minutes. So it's either I press Control S or I click this save icon here. If I mess up something, and then instead of pressing Control Z for undo, I can just click that and it undo what I did. You have your new here if you'd like to create a new Excel worksheet or workbook rather, and then you have your open if you'd like to open files. Now I have email, and this is what I mentioned that I normally include this on my work setup because normally in a work setup I have MS Outlook or the email service included. So when I click that email button in there, it then automatically attaches your file to your email. So when you click that, it sends that email right away. So if your setup is if you are using MS Outlook, this is important. So on a work environment, these stuff are what I normally recommend to include in your quick access toolbar. Now, if you've seen earlier, I was able to close the screen or the sheet right away without clicking anything. Because normally, when you close it, you click this one, right? Or file and then close, right? One shortcut that I would want to share to you is CTRL plus W. Now, what does that do? Is if you create something, or if it even works in your what I call this, in your Chrome browser. Like if you press Control plus W, it closes whatever file that you have open. I'm not gonna do that in the screen because it will remove our sheet here. So if you press Control W, it will close whatever window or browser or anything. It works in most Windows application or even the browser, even your Google Chrome browser. All right. So that's for the quick access toolbar. Another shortcut that I would want to share is, remember when I said you can zoom in, zoom out in here? The other way of doing that is press and hold Control in your keyboard, and then your what do I call this? Center mouse button. If your mouse has a wheel, what do I call this? Wheel button, you can hold Control and then do that. So it zooms in, zooms out your worksheet, and that's it for that part in there. Now going back to our presentation. Uh, oops. Okay. Now going back to our presentation. So next is formatting in Excel. What does that mean? So most of the formatting tools well, I remember I made this one in an Office 2007-2013 version. But yeah, so most formatting will be found in your home ribbon. And ribbon, that also means your menu, Excel menu. So most functions that you'll see there in that home menu are clipboard, font, alignment, orientation, and indent. So in the clipboard, that's where you see copy, paste, and then format painter, especially the format painter. This is something that I would want to share to everyone. Not a lot of people know this, or yeah, I think I'm just assuming, but not a lot of people know that. Changing your font, that's in home and all that. So Excel application. Sorry if I'm going too fast, just let me know. Going back to Excel. Right. So formatting. If you remember, I've mentioned clipboard. This group this small words that you are seeing in here, these are the grouping. So this is where your clipboard is, your font, your alignment, and then number. So you have that in there. So copy paste, everyone knows this one. So you can click on something. So if you type something and would want to copy this and paste it in another cell beside that, so you can either press Control plus C on your keyboard. So Control, click on another cell, and then Control V when you are ready to paste it. So Control C, Control V. You can do that as well by going to copy and then paste. Now, there are a lot of ways to do paste. Now, if you notice that this space, what do I call this? This space function has multiple, or paste has multiple functions that you can do. What if your data here, you've already set it up as color black, background red. Why did I make it red? And then bold. And then when you paste it, normally when you paste it somewhere else, it copies whatever format that you have, what you have in there, right? If you'd like to paste it as a regular text, so copy that. If you'd like to paste it as a regular text somewhere here, you click this drop down and then you choose. So I will let you explore whatever is in here, but then you choose values. You look for values. Where's values? Ah, there, values. All right. So there. Paste it as values. Now it then removes this one. What else were this one? The other thing where this one is beneficial is when you have your, this one here is in date format. I'd like to paste it as a general format in here. There, it's now into its general decimal format when I paste it in there. Now, what happened? Why did it remove that format? Instead of going to paste, I just clicked on something. So what did I do? When you copy something and you right click, your paste options are in here as well. So you have your paste, right? And because I'm I'm already familiar with these shortcuts, when I do right click and then when I press V on my keyboard, which is values, it then pastes whatever is in here as values, right? So would recommend you guys familiarizing what's in here. I'll cover this formula part in tomorrow's session, but yep, other things are in here. Now, notice that you see here transpose. So, what does transpose do? So, when you paste it like that on a regular paste, it just copies whatever is showing in here, right? Now, what if I want it to be like this as here? This is here. So I want it to look like this way. Whatever I'm seeing here, I would want to see it in this part, but in vertical format. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. It's either I'm going to click that and then do transpose. What did I do? Right. And then click transpose. I mean, sorry. You need to go first to where you'd want to place it. So I'm going to place it here. And then do transpose. And you'll see that. You can also do highlight, right click, press T on your keyboard, or click that, transpose. So you can then, whatever these numbers that are in here, it's in vertical format. I'd like it to be horizontal. Then I do right click, transpose, or press T. Now it's now in that format. Magic, right? That's why I love Excel. Okay, next. What was the next item in my list? Right, so copy, cut. Right. So that's it for copy. Now cut. What does that do? This one, this scissor icon. So if I would want to move these three in here, to in this part here, what I do is instead of the regular Control V or paste, instead of clicking paste, what I do is cut. So what it does is it moves. So instead of clicking copy, sorry for messing up. Instead of clicking copy, you instead click cut. and then paste. It basically moves whatever is in here to wherever you'd like to place it. So same goes with this. If I'd like to move this into here beside that, and then uh yeah, it doesn't, what do you call this, um it the sad, well, not the sad thing, but um the downside with using cut is it doesn't trans, what was that? It doesn't transpose. It does? Yeah, no, it does not. So when you cut, there's no transpose option. So you'll have to copy and then delete whatever is in here if you'd like to transpose whatever data is in there. Now, hey Liz, yes, there's going to be a recorded copy. I'm gonna upload this in my what I call this, Facebook page, and then um it should be in there. And I'll try to download it as well so I can save it for future references if anyone would want to use it. So yeah, so that's it for cut. Next, we have format painter. Oops. Oh, before I move to format painter, there's a shortcut for cut, which is control. So wait, let me go back. So copy is control plus C. Paste is control V. Cut is control X. Right, let me remove other things in here. All right. So you have your control V for paste, control X for cut. Now, next thing on the list is format painter. So what does format painter do? This one. Not a lot of people yeah, not a lot of people knows this. And funny, I also knew this like 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. So normally before, what I do is just like say these items are already in color yellow, and I would want these items to be color yellow as well. Normally what I do, I'm sorry, that's color yellow, that's italize, and let's say the font color is, just for the lulz, I'll make it white. All right, so yellow, white, italic. Now I would want to do the same. I would want to have this view here to be the same. I mean these items here to be the same view. I can click on that, italic, but that's a long process. So what I do is I click on any of whatever in here, click on format painter, and then highlight the items that you'd like to copy. All right, so that's for format painter. Amazing, right? So that's one of the best functions of Excel, format painter. So you don't have to do, if you already have a format that you'd like to copy, you don't have to redo everything. You can just click on format painter and highlight whichever you'd like to have the same format as what your source is. Okay, so same thing. This one, I'd like it to be just a regular view. Then I would wanna click on format painter, highlight all of these. There, it's back to normal. Next, before I go ahead and proceed, if you notice, my Excel doesn't have any of these square. Now, I know a lot of people, what they do is they highlight everything and then they click this white thingy, right? That may work, but doing that will also add to your formatting, and that will also add to what I call this, the file size. I mean the size of your file. So instead of doing that, what you do, you go to oops, sorry, you go to view and then grid lines, uncheck that, and voila, it's gone. All right, now going back to our topic next. So we have font size, font color, fill color, and border. So we've discussed that earlier. So you have your font in here. You can choose your fonts. You can choose your font size. Um, these are your fill. So if you'd like to have your text background, you can just do that here. And then your text color, this part, that's your text color. And then bold, italic, and underline. So if you'd like your letters to have underline, then you can do that. If you'd like it to be italic, that, and then bold. That. Cool. Next, we have alignment. So what is that for? That is for something like this. Assuming you have that one in your cell. Now, what you do, the purpose of these alignments here is this. So you have your top align, which will align it to top, center, and bottom align. Right. And then this one is for your center, right, left. Now, where does this normally work? Or apply rather? For those doing reports or plans to make their sheet look cleaner, if your cells are normally like this, and it's normally on left align at times when you've started creating it, if you'd like everything to be on center, then click that. Now it's a cleaner view. Why is this not doing center? That's because of this format here. So these ones are formatted custom. These ones are formatted general. Now going back, sorry. And then assuming let's have this total name as total units blah blah blah. Right, that's too long. But I would want to see everything in that part. So what I do, I'm gonna click on wrap there. And at times, these items here, because I've already set it up as middle align, right? So at times, this part here, if you have wrapped this part, this is normally aligned to bottom. So with text like that, if you'd like your presentation to look better, then you'd wanna have it as middle align, center align, or your preference, and then it looks that way. Now, there are times that I don't want it to be wrapped, and I don't want it to be center as well, but I still want it to look cleaner. So let's have it this way. So all your items are aligned right. My OCD is kicking in. Sorry. Okay, there. All right. So all your items are aligned right. Now I would want my headers to still at align right, but my data here, I'd like it to be not center, but have a space just to make it look cleaner. So what I do, I click on increase indent. So what it does that. Okay. So it's not aligned center, but it's aligned right, Now, why I don't want it to align center, because if I'll align it to center, it will look like that way, and it's not. And if you're someone who, you know, um, if you're someone who doesn't prefer to have everything not aligned, so you might want to have it as still aligned left, and then just add indentions, and it will look that way. All right. So format painter, like that. Okay. Now, I totally miss. So, and I just remembered it just now. So we have control. I'm gonna go back to copying and pasting. So this is something that I would wanna share to those who'd wanna like me prefers using keyboard most of the time. So I have these numbers here. What if I'm gonna copy everything in here? I mean, all these data here to make it more realistic. I'm gonna copy all this data here to here. I mean, up to here. So up to this black area, right? I would wanna copy all of this up to that black area. You can do that by, of course, copy and then paste, right? It's a little, I mean, and the process is a little long. Now, there's another thing that I would want to share to you. If you'd like to copy that data in there, and there's another set of data in here, what you can do, you you choose that cell, you place and hold control, press down on your keyboard, right? So I got into this part, right? And then control shift up, and then control D, right? So control plus D duplicates whatever is on top of that. So if I have something in here, I do that, control D, right? But it replaced the data in here. So what I do, oops, sorry. All right. So I'm gonna go down, move one level up, control shift up, and then control D. It pretty much duplicates whatever is in whatever is the cell that you have click. So yep, control D. You can do the same thing by clicking this cell, press and hold control and shift, that, basically highlighting everything, control D, or highlighting this part, control D. So control D duplicates data. So you now have your control C, control V, control D, control X as well for cut. What else do I do? Undo is control Z. Sorry if I'm going everywhere. Okay. Is I. All right. So next, we have your orientation. Why did this move here? Okay, so you have your orientation. We've covered that. Orientation is here, and then your indent. We've covered that. Cool. Okay, next. So we're good with formatting. Let me go back to my presentation. Oops. Okay. So, working with multiple cells this time. So what you do, or what does working with multiple cells mean? So it is possible to select and work with more than one cell at a time. You can do mouse dragging. You can hold the mouse button and highlight multiple cells. It's pretty basic. We've already been doing that. So what does that mean is click a cell, press and hold your left mouse button, and then highlight. You have your shift click, and then you have your control click. So what does that do? Let's go back to Excel. All right. So shift click. Let's start with shift click first. That means if you press and hold your shift, sorry, so you press and hold your shift key in your keyboard, and then click somewhere, like say A10, then it highlights everything. If you click somewhere here, it highlights that part. Somewhere there, highlights that part. Now, what's the purpose of that? We'll go through that after doing control click. So control click is choosing specific cells that you'd like to make changes to. Like say for example, if you'd like to change colors of um, A2 to G2 and A8 to G8, just those two rows, you can click, shift click that way. But if you click on G8, it highlights A3 to G7, right? So what you do, you press and hold, you go first to your cell, press and hold control, and then highlight whichever cells you want. While still pressing control, click A8 up to G8. Now it highlights only those part. Now you can now just change those colors. So, you've only changed the background, or you did bold for that part, or that change the color, indented that part, switch it to center, just those parts, pretty much everything. You can basically control your formatting by choosing whichever whichever cells you like, without doing this, doing that, and doing that again for this, doing that, doing that again for this. So instead of doing that, you can press control and then format, or you can do one time and then just choose format painter, and that. So we're applying what we've learned earlier, right? Okay. Everyone able to follow so far? I'm not gonna be able to do real time questioning because for some reason there's a delay. But yeah. Anyways, so that's it for working with multiple cells. Now let's go back to the presentation. Okay. All right. So working with multiple cells. Next is add, remove, hide, or unhide columns and rows. Pretty basic. But where does it apply to? All right. Going back to Excel. So adding, removing, hiding, unhiding columns and rows. You can do. The purpose of that is if you still want to keep your data in here. Let's say you don't want to show total units, then you can pretty much hide this column, but still keep that data for whoever you would want to present this to. So you can hide by doing right click and then hide. Right click, hide. How do you unhide it? You can highlight everything or just go between whatever is between that. Go between what? All right. So highlight the columns and then right click and hide. Right click and hide. Now, what if you'd like to add certain data in here? Let's say, for example, these people here. You'd want to add their last Are these last names? Yeah, they are. Yep, they are last names. So you'd want to add their first names, right? But you don't want to add it in the last part. So what you can do, you can right click, insert, add a column. So your first name, and assuming their first names are just numbers, because I'm too lazy to type. And I'm gonna go through this. 210. So assuming their first names are just numbers, let's make it 100. Okay. So I'm applying the duplicate in there. So notice it doesn't have anything in here. So I went to the last part, went to this part here. The last part is 44. Press and hold control, press and hold shift, control then press up and then control D. It added everything. So assuming these are all their oops. Wait. So assuming these are all their names, so we pretty much added their first name in here. So that covers what do I call this? Um, Adding, removing, hiding columns. And let me go back to I don't want to see that color. Format painter. Yeah. Oops. That doesn't work that way. Because notice the numbers just turn into, because I copied the format in the order date, it copied the it changed as the date format. So let me undo. Let me remove the colors in here. So remove the format. Sorry, I'm applying what we've learned as we speak. Alright. Okay. So let me save that. And as I've said, I normally save it. Just a habit, sorry. Okay, next. Going back to the presentation. We have entering date and time in the keyboard. Why would I want to do it that way? When I can just look at the calendar. But if you're too, well, they say technology makes everyone lazy. So you can insert static date or time into a cell by pressing and holding control semicolon to add a date, control time, I mean for time, control shift, insert date and time. Right. So these things can be done through formula, but if you're not familiar with formula, you can do it this way. So going back, I would want to add today's date. Let's say we are gonna name it load date because we have added the data today. Then what was the formula again? Oops, sorry, I went back to Excel without bringing you guys along. All right, so let me do that again. So I'm gonna insert a column, add the load date in here because again, what we're trying to achieve is inserting the date or today's date. So you do is if you're too lazy clicking on the calendar, you can press control and then press semicolon. Let's see if that one works. It does. Right. So you have that in there. And instead of again doing that one by one, instead of doing that, you can either duplicate, just what we did, or there's another thing. It's another thing for the control C, control V, and this one here copies whatever format that you have. So notice that there's a small square in here. When you click that and press and hold your mouse, drag that here, it pretty much copies everything that you have on the cell that you've sourced it from. But notice that the date in here changed as well. That's because this one is in a date format. And if you'd like it to be a static date, same date that you have in here at the top, you can click this small pop-up menu that showed up in here. Click that. It will say autofill options. fill series means it will what do you call this? It will Excel will try to read it as how it is and then do a series of copies um, of whatever data in there. In this case, it added or it added a series of dates on a day-to-day value because it's a date. If you'd like to copy just the formatting only, then it will only copy the background color yellow. Fill without formatting. Um, Copy cells is what we're after if you'd like to copy that. Fill series. Fill formatting. It's just the background. Fill without formatting. It removed the date format that we have here. It removed the background color. It's pretty much this control V with the base values function. Um, Fill days, fill weekdays, fill months, fill years. Pretty much that's there. Great. But then again, what we're after is pasting it as regular copy. All right, so I've segued. Sorry. All right, so we'll try load time. Then again, so let me go back. So date shortcut. I'm adding the secret shortcuts in here. Add date. Add time. Add date and time. All right. So you have your add date as control plus semicolon. Oops. Semicolon. Add time is control plus shift plus that, and then your add date and time. What's this? Okay, so control shift that for the time. Man, it's already 4 p.m. Time flies so fast. Okay, next. Alright, so entering date time. So we have your increase, decimal, wrap, and merge. So we've already covered wrap and merge earlier. Increase, decrease, decimal, and then custom formats and conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is one cool way to format your data. Let's go to Excel. So let's start first with increase, decrease, decimal. So that one is in here. So if you'd like to add your decimals, if you're working with numbers, then you can do that. Add, increase decimals. Wrap and merge, we've covered that earlier. Conditional formatting. Now, let's say for example, we would wanna format whatever is central in here. So this is the conditional formatting. There are a lot of what do you call this? There are a lot of functions for conditional formatting, but what we're gonna do is custom conditional formatting. In this example, what we're gonna do is if the region is named as East, then we'll color it background red. If the region is color central, green, west, then blue. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna highlight which I would wanna apply the conditional formatting to. Highlight that, conditional formatting, and then go to new rule. What you do then afterwards is click on format only cells that contain There are other functions in here. I will leave you to try to, you know, explore it. But then again, format only cells that contain. So with the cells that we've highlighted, we would want to have cell value is equal to east. Then what did we talk about earlier again? Background red. Right, east is gonna be red, background red. So you go to fill if you'd like to have background. Font is where you'd like to have your font color as. Let's say we'd want to have it as background red, font color white. So font white. If you want to have it italic, you can play with that. You can have it bold or whatever. Fill background font. Hit OK. Hit OK. All your E's are now red. But we've missed the central, we've missed the west. So you go back to conditional formatting without clicking anything in your cells because that will remove those parts that you'd like to manage. And speaking of manage, so conditional formatting, manage rules, and then add a new rule. Or if you'd like to change this one, then you can just edit. If, say you've changed your mind, you'd like it to be blue this time or yellow this time, then you can do that. But then click on new rule. Cell contains. This time we're working with central. And I'd like central to be green. Because RGB, why not? And then before I click on OK, well, if you'd like to see it now, you can click on apply. But you can do it later. And then click on new rule. Cell contains equal to, and then we're looking for west, and we'd like west to be color. Fill is background blue. Font is say yellow, and we'd like west to have a border just for the lulz. All right, and then outline. All right, so doing that, we'll have west with border and yellow, and just because. All right, and then click OK. All right. So that's conditional formatting. The other thing that you can do for conditional formatting is so there are a lot of things that's in here in the conditional formatting. You have your color scales. What it does is if you're again working with numbers and you'd like to what I call this sort it or whatever, you have your color scales in here. It will automatically rank your numbers with green being the highest. Red or super red, bloody red being the lowest. So in this example, if you look at it, like say we're just hovering. If you click on that, it will then set up as your highest number, and then this is gonna be amazing if you're gonna if you're gonna work with numbers and you just want to easily identify which one is your highest number. Then conditional formatting. Let's take this for example. In your items, in this set of items, you'd like it to be you'd like to easily identify which is the most sold item, right? So you can do that there. So you now see that pencil, pen, right, coming from these people are your most sale based on this order date. It doesn't tell a story. I'm just working with the numbers. But I'm just working with the conditional formatting. But yeah, that's it for conditional formatting. I will let you guys explore it and then just let me know if you have questions or whatever. And yeah, that's it for conditional formatting. Next is sort and filter. Oops. Let me go back to my presentation. All right. Sort and filter. So what is sort and filter? So sort and filter. So Excel has a way of quickly sorting your data. So Excel quick sort options. So in Excel, quick sort can be carried out using the sort and filter button on the home tab of the ribbon or menu. Sort on multiple columns can also be done in Excel. So what does that mean? Or yeah, how do you do that? Let's go back to Excel. So going back to your Excel, let me remove the format. Why not we'll keep it that way? No, we'll keep it that way. Okay. Just so we'll see the differences. All right. So, how does sort works? So, you basically when you do sort, first thing you do, let's say we'd want to sort it as just the most, or let's say let's sort it by the order date. Right. So if you notice, there's an order date of what format is this? It's an American format. Okay, because I normally work with Australian format. Sorry. All right. So this example is in an American format. So right. So if you'd like to sort this from, see if you have March here, you also have March here, February here, right? But you would like to sort this one to what do I call this? Based on the date, you can highlight the column and then click. Wait, yeah, data, right? And then click this one. Sort oldest to newest or newest to oldest. So whichever you'd like it to, whichever you prefer. In by clicking expand the selection, it will basically include all your, because Excel automatically reads this ones here as part of your data. So if you click expand the selection, then it will sort out what I call this those as well. I mean these parts here, right? But if you'd like to sort just this column, well, just for the lulls again, then you can just do that, and it will just sort this column here. I'm gonna undo it because we're gonna play with the data. All right. Let me switch it back to total units. Okay. Now next, what if I'd wanna sort it on oldest to newest date based on the rep name? I'm gonna remove the first name here because that's not really a part of the data. So I'm gonna sort the data based on the order date. Based on, I'm sorry, order date first, and then alphabetical order of the region, and then alphabetical order of the rep name, and then the item. So how do I do that? First, I'm gonna highlight all the data first, and then what I do is, you see this one here? You click that one. Make sure you click this part. My data has headers. If you already have headers in your data, but if you'd like to include a row 1 as part of it, then you can uncheck that, so it will include that in the sorting. But in this case, we're using row 1 as your header. So first, as we've agreed, we'll have, as what we've set up, order date first, cell value as from oldest to newest, and then add, let's switch it this time. We'll sort it first per the rep name, A to Z, and then your next sorting will be region, A to Z, and then last we'll sort it based on their number of units or sales. Yeah, because this is a sales data. All right, so last will be their number of units. We'll sort it smallest to, I'm sorry, largest to smallest. Right, we'd like to see their units. So click OK. And voila. you now have your order date sorted to the name and then region and then your number of units, right? And there are a lot of ways. If you'd like to do it differently, just click on your sort again and move it. Like say if you'd like to move this up, you'd like to first sort it first per unit before we go with order date. You can do that. See, if you notice, it will then sort the most number of units per date and then so on and so forth. Cool. Next, we have your text to column. And this is I'm really not a fan of text to column. But yeah, we'll cover it in this one because most people doesn't normally doesn't normally work with formulas. So we'll have text to column. And what does it do? I want to keep you there. So I'm gonna add a new sheet. We'll put our data in a different sheet. Okay. And of course, we would want to remove these lines here. So view, grid lines. All right, there. All right, text to columns. Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna combine. So what's the purpose of text to column? It pretty much has multiple functions that you can do. You can either, in this case, we would like to remove. We're gonna just look for or remove the dates, the month, and the year in column A. So what you do, you highlight your column, you click on data, click on text to column, and then there are two types of doing text to column. One is delimited. This is what's commonly used. Second is fixed width. So fixed width is where you and we don't normally we I don't normally recommend fixed width when playing with text to column. So what it does is you basically identify where you like to separate your data. Right. So that's fixed width, and I don't normally recommend fixed width for text to column. I would rather go for delimited. Hit next. So our goal is to separate the date, the month, and the year in this example. So we have tab is if it's tab, and then semicolon if it's separated by a semicolon. In this case, it's separated by a slash. So for example, if this is separated by a semicolon, then you choose semicolon. And this is checkbox, so meaning everything that's covered in these categories will be separated by that. So you have your semicolon, you have your comma, you have your space. So if there's a space in between that, then it separates that on the columns where you'd like it to place. So in this case, we don't have slash, right? So what you do, you click on other, you remove tab, and then choose slash. You'll have your preview in here. Hit next. Now, these are advanced. What do you call this? Advanced text to column formatting. This case, for example, this date here. This automatically converts your UK date, Australia UK date and time to US date and time. If you're working with dates, if you're working with text, then you do text, or do not import column, then you skip. But then again, in this example, and most of the time, you'll only do text to column using general. Now, what is this destination for? make sure you always choose a destination, because if not, what it does is when you hit finish, it will pretty much replaces all your data that's in here. Now let's have an example. See, it says there's already data here. Do you want to replace it? If you hit OK, it pretty much replaced that. So we don't want to do that. Text to column again. Delimited. Hit next. Hit other. Choose slash. Hit next. Destination. You only choose the wow, sorry. Let me go back. Let me go back. My bad. All right. Sorry. Okay. I think I've lost you in the delimited part. So, going back, text to column. I'm guessing everyone is seeing the Excel screen now. I wasn't looking at that. I'm really sorry. My bad. All right. So, text to column. Click on text to column. And again, we don't wanna. Sorry. Let me go back. So, delimited. And again, our goal here is date, month, year. Hit next. Hit other. We don't have slash as part of the delimiter, so you choose other. Choose slash. So you have your data preview here. And then you hit next. And again, choose general. And again, as I've mentioned, date here is only applicable for changing format from UK to US and all of that, and vice versa. And then, really important when you do text to column, make sure you specify your destination, or else it will replace your that data here in the column. So, click destination. Go to the header or go to the cell where you'd like to paste your data. In this case, everything in column A will go to, I'll have it as column K. And the goal is it will have date in column K, month in column L, year in column M. So hit next. Finish rather. And then there, voila, you have your date, month, year separated. This one. Right. Let's have another example. What do I call this? Last name, first name. We'll have L name, F name. Sorry, disregard this one. I'll just have this as an example, just for example purposes. We're not working with formula yet. Okay. No. Sorry, we'll have, because it's last name, first name, there should be comma. Okay. So, assuming this is your last name, first name, and you'd like it to be separated, so you have your another column here as your last name and first name, because we're looking for their last name and first name. Highlight the column, text the column, delimited, hit next. This time we have comma in place, so hit comma, uncheck other because we're not using that. Hit next. And again, specify your destination. We don't want it to be in J1. Instead, you'd like it in R1, where your last name is. And then hit enter. Hit finish. There's data in there because we have your headers there. Just hit OK. There, so your last name and your first name. It's just that it's using that. So have your last name. Just change the header. First name, and you have your last name and your first name in here, separated by a comma, right? Cool. Hey Sam. All right, so that's it for text to column. And again, if you have questions, just shoot it in the chat section or the comment section.
But mankind won't be destroyed.
Okay,
The fact that you and I are working
next, let's go back to the presentation. All right, so using cell references in Excel formulas. And again, this is still the basic part of Excel. We're just covering this in preparation for the formulas tomorrow. All right, so using cell references in Excel formulas, so you have your A1 reference style, which is your relative and absolute, and then your name reference style, as you're naming a cell or naming a range. Now, what is that one for? So remember, there's a relative, absolute, A1 reference style, and then naming. So we'll cover first with this part. Um, and then this one is we're already digging into the formulas part. But then again, just the basic part. We're not covering the formulas yet. That's gonna be for tomorrow. Okay, so almost forgot to switch to Excel. Okay, there. So A1 reference style, so relative. Now, basically your referencing means when you work with formula, you normally starts with an equal sign. Now, when you click a cell, that's what you call referencing. Now, you will notice that your formula bar has an A3, right? Because you click on A3. If you want to click on somewhere else, it now says E15. Now, what this does, so you've just click equals and then click somewhere, right? What this does is um, it basically captures whatever data is on that cell. So when you do that, and then press enter, it copies Jones because Jones is in E17. So we want to have that, so it captures that. That one is your basic referencing. Now, what so there are two parts, right? So what I've mentioned earlier is relative and absolute. Now, what does absolute mean is you are going to lock your reference on that cell. So locking is adding a dollar sign and a dollar sign. So your C is your column, 4 is your row. So we are referencing C4 and we are locking our reference to C4 only. Now you have that. It Now where does this apply? This applies when you are copying whatever is in here to whatever is in here. For example, since we have lock C4, when you copy that formula, it basically just copies C4, right? But if you're going to remove the lock, and this is relative referencing, it moves, or the formula moves as you go along. So C6, because you are highlighting C6. Let's move that just so we'll have a real world example. So right, so it copies C3, C4, C7. That's because we didn't lock, or your reference is not absolute, right? Now, if you're going to copy going that way, then it moves your formula, right? Because you didn't lock it. But if you're going to lock C3, then it only copies the absolute that you have referenced. I mean, the absolute cell that you've referenced. Right. Now, your shortcut for adding a dollar sign is F4. So, um, for absolute reference, dollar sign, press F4. Yeah, F4 like the Wasile's telling so. I'm that time of the Okay, so your shortcut is F4. So again, that's equals, click somewhere, and then you click your formula. You press F4 while in the formula bar. There, it adds your dollar sign on both. Cool. Okay. And then last on our topic is drop down list. And a lot of you I know would want to learn from this one. So drop down list. Uh, so Excel's data validation options include creating drop down lists that limits the data that can be entered into the specific cell, the preset list of entries. So um, so the benefits of that is making the data entry easier, preventing data from entry errors. Right. So what that means is, let's say for example, you would wanna just say check if this one is central, then you say yes. Not central, then no. And if you don't want you or anyone who works on the file to input any other data in here, so what if they say no? Then we don't want them to do that. So instead, you'd like to have a drop down in here, and our goal is to for them to input if this is central, right? Now that's where your data validation comes in. Let's say we'll highlight this one. Our list or drop down list will apply to these cells. Then what you do, you go to data validation, click on data validation, and then click on allow, then list. So there are two ways of doing data validation. Why I'm out of Excel again? Am I? Sorry. Hey Sam, thanks. All right, so let me go back. So our goal is to identify a yes or no in here. You go to data validation, allow list, and then there are two ways. One is manually inputting your items here, and then separate it with a comma, yes, no, and a, and then hit OK. Now these cells will now have your data validation, yes and a, no, right. The other way of doing data validation, if you don't want to type your list in there, you can have your, assuming this list that this data that we have here will be our drop down list that would show up in here. First, you'd like to remove your data validation by clearing validation circles. Sorry. It didn't work. Anyways, all right. So you need to click all, clear all, and then hit list. That one, and then so this is the second way. Hit equals, and then click on this one, or you can just go click that right away. Highlight, Alright. So doing this will pretty much get your list of data validation items, rather. Yeah. Data validation items. And then hit OK. Your drop downs are now these items. Okay, so we have that and that. So that's your drop down list. And that's it for today. So yeah, I'm gonna share this file. I'm gonna edit this post and then share the link to where you can download this presentation. And then if you have questions about basic Excel basics, then just let me know, and you know, I'm more than happy to help. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you everyone, and you guys stay safe. You have an awesome weekend. Take care, everyone.